We have everybody here. I see a Joe Chappelle.
Guardian here.
Yeah, Jason Chappelle, father.
Okay. When I was looking at this, and I apologize, I haven't been the judge hearing this case, so I kind of looked back through to see where we were at. It looks like there was a motion filed for visitation, and then there needed to be some service of process of the motion. And I was looking in the file. It looks like Mr. Chappelle, you filed a copy of the notice of hearing, but I don't know if did you, and that was just to Ms. Farr. Is that accurate?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, I was just, well, looking back to May 23rd, you'd need to serve all of the documents, which would be the motion and the notice on all parties. That's what Judge Hahn apparently had indicated on the 23rd.
I received reservice of the documents from the first hearing and the new notice with everyone CC'd.
Okay, so you did get the motion?
Yes.
Okay. All right, and I don't, so, and Ms. Farr, she's still coming in here, just a second. All right, Ms. Farr, I know you're just coming in. Can you hear me?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good morning. We're talking about the Chappelle matter.
Okay.
And did you receive a copy of the motion and notice of hearing for today?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Now, as indicated to the parties a few minutes ago, I'm kind of new to this case. I don't know that I've heard a lot on it. I did review through it. And I don't know if there's anybody has a position on Mr. Chappelle's request.
I think that this has been normally set before Judge Hahn, so she's more familiar, but Mr. Chappelle is requesting some supervised in-person visits.
Mm-hmm.
And he did have, there's a couple things. He did have a negative test in April. And he was removed from the facility.
No, I just got into court too. So
hold on one second. I'm getting some feedback here.
okay, yeah, no.
Okay, right. And so he was removed from the I'm not feeling well today. I'm losing my words here. The facility that he was staying at, the inpatient, the treatment center, the group home. And my understanding is he has gone back home to his mother's home now, and I haven't heard much from him since. He did send me some. He did send me some test results from this last month that were all negative. So he did have the one positive one in April, and then he's had several negative ones since. If my position is if Ms. Chappelle wants to facilitate in-person supervised visits, I think that would be okay. So I'm going to leave that decision up to her because I don't think that there's anybody else to do the supervising.
All right. And that would be Joe Chappelle?
Yes.
Okay. So, ma'am, do you have a position on that? Would you be willing to facilitate some contact?
I would be willing to facilitate contact. We also, I believe, have two proposed other people that could also help out if I was unavailable to do the supervising. One is our friend Michelle Linder, who we've known for a long time and is very familiar with our situation. She lives down the street from me and is willing to help out. And then his cousin Amanda is also somebody who I'm very familiar with, who would be capable of helping out from time to time as well. Her schedule is a little more busy. But I also am willing to take some of the brunt of watching him with the kids as well. And I know that he's been consistent with his phone contact on a weekly basis, and the kids do want to see him if possible.
Okay. Okay. So I guess my next question would be is what are you agreeable to? What are you looking for, sir? I mean, I can set up a specific order, or if you and Ms. Chappelle can work out a kind of a schedule for that works for both of you, that may be simpler since I don't have your schedules in front of me.
At the moment, our schedules are varying quite a bit. I think me and Miss Chappelle can work out any sort of flexible schedule between us.
Are you
So-
comfortable with that, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Farr, do you see any problem with that?
No, I think that's fine. The only thing I would say is if one of the other two people are going to do the supervising, they need to fill out an oath, and I can send that to Ms. Chappelle that gets filed with the court.
Okay.
Okay.
So what I'll indicate here is father will be allowed supervised visits. And let me just see here with the kids.
And if for any reason Ms. Chappelle suspects that Mr. Chappelle is using, then the visit needs to be halted immediately.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll indicate in here not to be using or be under the influence of any substances. Okay, and then if the two of you can't come to work out a workable schedule, you can note it back on, and we can talk about it if you can't come to an agreement on that or you have problems with that. All right, so I've signed an order to that effect. So we'll do we, Ms. Farr, again, I'm not really as familiar with this particular case. Where are we at on this one as far as the next hearings and that sort of thing?
We have it set for trial. Let me look, in July 8th.
Okay. So if we don't hear any problems, we will see you on July 8th. I have signed that order allowing for the visits.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Good luck. This one is set for trial in August. So what are we looking at today?
Thank you, Your Honor. Jennifer Joslin on behalf of Rebecca Ford. Last time we were in court, Your Honor, I had just been appointed and we were setting this out because the parties had a hearing in the family law matter. It appears that resolution has been reached. Although I haven't seen orders, I don't know if minors counsel has. And Mr. I apologize, I always butcher Kurt's name. Kurt was to prepare the orders in the family law matter. According to my client, he hasn't. They have a return date for the entry of orders on July 11th. Sorry, is that June 11th? And I'm just making things up. Sorry, June 11th. So my thought would be to set this out 2 weeks to let them enter those orders. And so long as they're entered, then we would dismiss here.
I'm not seeing Mr. Anagnostou on my screen. Something here. Are we on a, what, let me look at where we're at. Are we on a?
I think he's trying to get in. That was Mr. Anagnostou.
Oh.
I don't have a key though.
I think this will open in. If you give us just 1 second, Mr. Anagnostou may be here in the courtroom.
Okay.
That'll do it. We're trying to get in. We had to unlock the door because we're not normally open for in person here, but give us just a second.
Apologize, I'm stuck in courtroom 1.
Oh, that's okay. So we're looking at the Cox matter. Rebecca Cox, thank you. And I understand there's been a resolution possibly in the family law matter, is that right?
And carry the guardianship matter.
Okay, and you're preparing orders on
I
that?
am preparing an order in the family law case, and then I believe the party who's the petitioner in the guardianship case is going to dismiss in favor of the child going with the mother.
Okay. And you know what your timeline for those papers are?
I'm going to have them out this week.
Okay, so why don't,
We had that hearing last week. And
okay. Do we want to go out 2 weeks for review on this, just for status?
Country in 2 weeks. If we could do it like next Thursday, I'm still here, or Tuesday. I should have them out for Tuesday.
Well, we could do this. I could put it on for the 25th. Will you be back at that point?
No, I leave on the 17th for 2 weeks.
Okay. Well, how about if we put it on for the 2nd of July? And if you get an agreed orders entered and just submit an ex parte order dismissing this, that can be, we can handle it without a hearing, and it'll just strike that hearing.
I think the only issue with that, Your Honor, is the child's supposed to come out to my client at the end of June or July. And so if the guardianship hasn't been dismissed, I don't want there to be any problems. They are set to return next week, June 11th. So if we can just, if it gets entered, I don't see why we couldn't come back the week after June 11th, even if Mr. Anagnostou is not here, because there would be filed final orders in the file. And I don't think Mr. Anagnostou would have any objection to dismissal. I just want to make sure it's smooth for the
Sure,
client,
understood.
for the child to return.
Okay. Does that work for you?
That was
Okay. Well, let's put it on the 18th, then. That's 2 weeks out from today.
July or June 18th.
June 18th at 10:30. And if you circulate an agreed order dismissing, I can address that prior to court even.
Right.
Okay,
And I leave my staff.
very good. Thank you.
Is there another?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Let me check.
Oh, Shauna Ray,
Yeah, Chappelle matter that.
but that was just with regards to the father and the.
Right. We just simply entered allowed for some supervised visits. So you're all good there?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Good morning, Your Honor. John Sasaki for respondent mother, Candace Jones.
Good morning, Teresa Lee.
Good morning, Your Honor. Jennifer Joslin for father Lucas Whittick.
Okay. And we have Miss Turnbull. I think I saw her. There she is. Okay. So when I looked at this file prior to court, there appears to be a raft of documents that were filed. It looks like an objection, declaration of Bethany Aitken, financial declaration, some other proposed child support works that were filed on the 3rd. Those have not made it. I can see that they've been filed, but I don't have those documents. So I'm not sure who filed those. I assume that would Mr. Sasaki.
Correct, Your Honor. I did file those.
Okay.
And we also had filed the courier instructions, the bench copies of the minor guardianship finance orders with the support worksheet, leaving open sections 13, 22, and 20 regarding support and visitation.
Okay.
We
We have some bench copies of, and these were from you?
correct.
Okay.
And so we were not able to get agreement outside of Ms. Turnbull's signature, but amongst the parents and the petitioner regarding the child support amounts, that is really the only pending issue that I'm aware of.
So everything else is agreed at this point?
Yes. However, section 20 as to visitation is also left open. However, I do not believe that there's disagreement on that section.
We only had 2 objections, Your Honor, to the order Mr. Sasaki had prepared. And by the time I was able to speak to my client, Mr. Sasaki had already sent down bench copies, so he wasn't able to make those changes. So there were only 2 brief objections, and then we filed our worksheet. So I agree with Mr. Sasaki. I think the child support issue isn't settled between parties. I I believe that it's going to be Guardian objecting to Mr. Sasaki's and our client's proposal for support.
Your Honor, I've
Yes.
asked, I don't have a problem trying to work with these folks. My problem is, however, I feel like there's some, like I did request that they showed me their 2023 tax returns, because they're not, I mean, is Lucas living off of zero? He has my grandson as well, I believe. I mean, I'm not here to for the money. I'm here for my granddaughter, which is number one. But she does have things that need to be paid for. She's trying to go to college. She's a straight A student. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like there's just a lot of dishonesty, maybe. I'm not sure if that's the word I want to use on part of this, on one side of this.
Okay, well, what I have in front of me is I've got a proposed child support order that's in the file. Look at that. That's from Miss Jocelyn. I'm not sure what, so that's showing a $50 amount. And then the documents that I got from Mr. Sasaki also indicates $50. If I'm reading that right.
That's correct, Your Honor.
I don't know that I've seen, I think there are maybe some financial documents that have been filed, but those are not, I don't have those available to me yet. There's a financial declaration that was filed, a declaration of a Bethany action. I don't know what that's about. So I don't know that I can do anything with the support today until I have a declaration from both parents as far as what their income situation is.
Your Honor, my client's in the waiting room.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. He just let me know.
Ms. Reese.
Your Honor, that's correct. So the declaration from Ms. Aitken, that is my client's employer, and my client. I have been working with my client on getting financials. However, due to some record keeping issues, that's the best that we could come up with is the employer's declaration as to my client's current income.
Okay.
And my client doesn't have any financials. From the last hearing we had, he was let go, and he's in that spot where he hasn't received any unemployment yet. So he doesn't have anything to demonstrate to the court.
All right, but normally you would file a declaration as to what his situation is. Is what I don't have anything that from, I may have one that looks like, based on what looks like was filed. I have, this says a financial declaration was filed by Mr. Sasaki's client, but I don't have one from yours. So I guess my thought on it, Ms. Trimble, any comments you have on this one?
No, not, I understand. Actually, from the last hearing, you had discharged me and those orders were to be filed with this. So I haven't been following particularly the child support order.
Okay. And I
be
don't
honest
know
with you.
that I was expecting that. I just didn't know.
Yeah.
You did sign off on these orders, and you would be discharged by these orders. So that's no problem there. I guess what so Miss Lee, the child support issue is challenging at times, because if the parties are earning under the poverty standards of the federal government, which is essentially $1,569 take-home pay, then the presumptive amount is at $50 a parent. So even if they're working, they could be making, you know, depending on what they're doing, they may or may not be making more than that. So where we're at this juncture, I don't have declarations in front of me from either parent, so I can't tell you that's what they're saying under oath, that's what they make or don't make. And so the best I could do today is either if you're in agreement to go with these orders, that would set it at $50 per parent. Then I could set this out a couple more weeks. I can get those declarations and make a decision. Does that work for you, ma'am?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just, like I said before, my number one worry is her 100%. I don't need the support. I need her to be supported.
Okay. Well, let's talk also about, before we get to that point, this visitation issue. It looks like that's been left blank on these orders.
I put on there that I had no problem with, I had talked to Rainey and I had a conversation, and she said she didn't want to have any contact with her father. She said that she didn't want to talk to her mom at this point, but she and I put in there in the papers that I filed that it would be, I wanted it to be left at Rainey's discretion if she wanted to talk to her mom or wanted to talk to her mom. I had put that in there originally.
Okay. So was that what counsel, what you were envisioning?
Yes, Your Honor. My client would absolutely agree to that. I was just unsure of Ms. Jocelyn's client's position on that. But yeah, exactly at my client's discretion, or at the child's discretion regarding any future visitation for work break.
Ms. Jocelyn,
Yes, Your Honor. The only change we had requested to these proposed orders is that contact between father and minor is at the discretion, that it just doesn't say no, that if she ever wanted it, it would be left open and it's at her discretion. The way it's phrased now is just no contact.
I'm doing what she asked. She asked to have no contact. If Rainey wants to, I'm fine with that. But yeah.
what I can do on this proposed order that I have, so we don't need to do a bunch more paperwork, would just be the visitation for each parent would be at the discretion of the minor.
That works for us,
own
Your Honor. Thank you.
So
It's
it really just
agreeable.
leaves it up to her. Okay, so let me do this then. Counsel, how soon do you think you could have, I know we've got one financial declaration from Mr. Sasaki's client, Ms. Jocelyn. Could you get a declaration in the next week or two?
Yes.
Okay, so I could set this over to the 18th, 2 weeks out from today. I'll hang on to these orders, and these will be the orders we enter subject to a determination of child support. I'm assuming if we're within the ranges that are set by the state, it would be the presumptive amount, but I just don't have those declarations in front of me.
Your Honor,
Yes,
may I bring something to the court's attention?
Sure.
Regarding the child support worksheets that were included with the minorship guardianship or minor guardianship finding and orders, both proposed child support worksheets are signed by both the mother and father. And so for the sake of judicial economy, I would ask if the court would be satisfied with those declarations.
Assuming I don't make a decision that they're incorrect, then they're fine. The other thing, and I don't know, counsel, you had created the minor guardianship findings in order, correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Could you send me via email just the cover sheet of that? This one's been stamped with bench copies and stuff, so I can Otherwise, I won't be able to utilize. Just so we've got a clean copy of this. And then, Ms. Jocelyn, if you can file your declaration, I can come back on the 18th, assuming the numbers are correct, then that's what we'll order. If we have a determination or disagree with your conclusion, then we can have a hearing on that issue.
Thank you. And in regards to, we had one correction to the findings. Do you want to include that in our declaration, or do we just want to discuss it now? We have sent that over to all parties as well.
Well, if we got another change, Mr. Sasaki, did you want to make those changes and just submit? And that could be electronically submitted, and include in the visitation, the language that for each parent that it's at the discretion of the minor.
Yes, Your Honor, I can do that.
That way I'll have a good clean copy to work with. And what was
Yes,
the
and
other?
there's
was the other-
section 9 with
Okay.
the basis for guardianship. And Ms. Jocelyn pointed out that I had left that blank, so I will input that section as well, that both Father's Council and I are of the same mind and in agreement on that one.
Okay. So what I'll do today then is I will do one additional extension so we have an order in place, set it over to the 18th, and hang on. Well, I'll hang on to these, but if you can send me a revised actual order, the findings in order, and copy everybody on that, and then we'll be able to get that taken care of on the 18th.
Thank you, Your Honor. And so just to clarify, I am to email your judicial assistant or to you?
Probably both, just to make sure we don't get it lost in there. Pretty good about getting me stuff, but at least I'll be aware of it then.
Understood. And so leaving sections 13 and 22 as to support blank, filling in section 20 as to visitation at the discretion of the child, and then correcting section 9. Is that correct?
Correct. And then you've got everything else filed that I need. I just can't see it yet. And then I'll be able to take a look at that, and I'll be able to look at what Ms. Jocelyn's will be filing. And Ms. Jocelyn, if you could forward me as well, just a copy of the financial declaration, just in case we get into a situation of something not getting quite make it to Odyssey.
Okay.
And then we'll be able to get this resolved on the 18th. Okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
We'll be back 18th at 10:30. Ms. Powers is
Thank you.
present. So when I looked at this again prior to court, it looked to me like I do have an opposition that was filed by Mr. Esau on behalf of his client. So I assume we just need to set a hearing on this at this point.
Yeah, what I would ask is that the court go ahead and enter the emergency minor guardianship order, and then let's set it for a full hearing on the issue of guardianship. We had also been waiting for the father to be served. He was finally served on May 20th, so his response period has not quite expired yet.
May I ask where he was? May I ask where he was? I did not know he'd been served.
It was in the
newspaper?
No,
he was
not the newspaper.
Yeah, because last contact I had with it was on Saturday, but I'm not speaking to him now, so I had no idea. Thank you for telling me.
I was served in Kelso, looks like.
Okay, yeah, that's where he was at. Okay, thank you.
So I guess my other question is, this is still showing as an emergency guardianship as opposed to a full guardianship?
The petitioner did file another petition on March 7th. So there is a full petition pending.
Oh, I see. Okay. So that we need to get that adjusted in our caption. Okay, I do see that. Okay, very good. Excuse me, apologize. Do we have a emergency guardianship order? Thank you. Anybody, any objection to, I guess, two things? Entering essentially the temporary order, so they don't have to keep coming back on these reviews every couple of weeks. And then I could place this onto the trial assignment docket probably for the 12th to get a date set for hearing.
Sounds good to me, Your Honor.
Okay.
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, very good. Let me let me get this first.
Your Honor, the
Yes.
immediate order has stay away language in it, and I would ask that continue in the emergency order. And mother has been showing up at the child's school.
Ma'am, may I
And-
say something?
May I finish, please, first?
Miss Martin, let me hear from the guardian, then I'll go to the
And it's very upsetting to the child. And the language is in there for her to stay away. So I would like to have that continued into the emergency order.
I have not seen it in writing. There should be something, there's nothing in there saying I have to stay away. Nothing's been sent to me. So that's kind of why I'm not understanding, because nothing's been sent. Nobody has said anything to me. I saw my daughter. The one time I saw her at the last concert. The other one I was at, that I went to, I was not anywhere near her, and I left. I gave her her gift because it was her last concert of the year. That's the only contact I have had with my daughter since December.
Okay, Miss Martin, let me stop you for a second. Couple of things. You have an attorney.
I know.
And I'm looking at the last order that was entered, and this was entered May 16th. This is the same order that's been in place. It does restrain you from going to the.
Where does it say? It doesn't say in writing. It doesn't say that. They say they want that, but it hasn't said it's gone through.
Ma'am.
That's why I'm confused.
Ma'am,
Ms. Martin.
listen to me for a second, please.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm looking at page 3 of the order right above my signature.
Then why have I not been told this?
I'm sorry?
Nobody has told me this at all. I have not been told by anybody about this. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that language, that language has been in every, I'm just looking back through in all of the orders going back into February.
Then why hasn't, I've talked to Dawn about it too, and we couldn't figure it out because we don't know, see where it says that it's been granted, because I thought it had to be granted. And nobody has told me anything that I have to, that I cannot go to her concert.
Okay, well, ma'am, I'm going to clarify that for you right now. It's been in the order. I don't know if you've gotten a copy of those orders or not.
I have all the orders, and nothing says that
Okay,
it has
then-
been granted. It has proposed to have been done, but nothing has said that it's in place.
Ms. Martin, I can call you after this hearing and talk about this with you.
Okay. There is a restraining order that's in all of these orders, ma'am. So and it's on page 3. And again,
Then why?
okay, ma'am, can you just listen to me for a second? Okay, on each of these orders, it's there. So that's the concern. You should talk with your attorney about that. If you go to the page on the order that has my signature at the bottom, it's directly above it. And it's section 6 of the order. So if you read through that, it's all there. So talk with your attorney about that, because we don't want you getting in any trouble, obviously.
Then why was the police not called to me? I you just say, why did they not have an officer?
Okay, ma'am, I don't know why the police weren't called. You should probably be happy they weren't, because that would get you.
Yeah, I'm just saying, why was something not done? That's what
Your Honor, I have been in contact with my client about the incident, and they were generous in not calling the police. They did not want to make a bigger scene for my
That
client.
was the only time I've spoken to my child since December.
Okay. So ma'am, here's what I want you to do. First off, I want you to call your attorney. He can walk you through all this because nobody wants you to get into trouble. Okay? So that language is included in this order that I'm looking at. All right, so I'm signing these orders. We'll put this on for trial assignment. That will be next Wednesday, the 12th. That's at 9 o'clock. It's a Zoom docket.
Your Honor, I have possible jury duty that week starting.
That shouldn't be a problem. Your attorney will be present and he can handle that for you. So I do urge you to give him a call. We appointed him to assist you with this. He can give you some guidance so you don't have any, again, nobody wants to get you into trouble, okay? Okay, so we'll put it on, and counsel, you won't need to do anything other than show up on the 12th at 9 o'clock. It's a Zoom here. I'm sorry?
It's the 11th.
The 11th? For trial assignment?
Oh, for trial assignment.
Yeah, trial assignment. So the 12th, 9 o'clock in the morning, Zoom docket for trial assignment. We'll get a date as quick as we could find one for you.
And then can I just verify the court is doing an order on your own? Is that correct? Or do you need me?
I have a proposed order that is here.
Okay.
This is the order. This was, no, just a second. This was prepared by Natalie. Unless you want to prepare a different order.
I haven't, I'm sure it's fine. I would just like to verify what day it expires. I'd ask that the court give us the full 60 days and put it out to August 4th for the could we put it out to August, let's put it to August 4th, and could we set a review hearing for July 30th in case it needs to be renewed?
Probably don't want to use the 4th. That's a Sunday. So maybe we just put it on the 30th and then review it on the 30th.
That sounds good.
Okay, so let me look at one thing here, just a second. So that'll be, letter of guardianship will be valid for 60 days through July 30th with a review on July 30th.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay. Sign that order. So ma'am, I do urge you give your attorney a call. He can walk you through the orders to make sure we keep you out of trouble. Okay? A little confused on this one. I see Lavonna Fletcher was far.
I'm here, Your Honor.
Okay.
God damn it.
So what I have on this one, it looks like Judge Evans noted this on for a default hearing today. I don't have a motion for default.
Yes, Your Honor. And so Ms. Fletcher was going to file that. She sent me the proposed orders yesterday, but I haven't had a chance to make revisions and get the final order back to her. So just asking for another week so we can get those final orders in place.
So there's no need for the default. I decided, I had spoken with Trinity on Wednesday, and that I'm just going to go ahead and let her stay with her grandma. This has gone on for months and it's not fair to her. She's got enough to worry about with senior year coming up, and this is what she wants so that she can finish school in Kelso District, considering I'm in Vancouver now. So the default doesn't need to be served or anything like that. I'm gonna just go ahead and allow her to live with her grandma with no more pushback.
Okay. Well, we still need to have an order in place that gives her that ability to act on her behalf.
Okay.
So I don't know how ill you are, Miss Farr. Is 1 week enough or you want to go 2?
Well, so is Lavonna, are you willing to sign a consent if I send it to you via email?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So
what-
maybe 2 weeks then, give me time to get that consent back from her and get it filed, and then we can do final orders.
Okay.
That's fine with me.
Okay, excellent. So what I'll do then, I'll extend this one out 2 weeks under the temporary to the 18th.
Actually, Your Honor, I'm not available on the 18th. I'm in trial that day in Clark County.
Okay.
So I
won't be on
can do the best I can to get it done by next week.
You want to try for next week? Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll extend it to the 11th at 10:30. All right, so ma'am, when you get that in the mail, if you can get that back to Ms. Farr right away, you will not need to be here on the 11th unless you want to be. You're certainly welcome to be. We'll just be entering those agreed orders and getting this case done.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I will do an order extending on that one. Come back next week. And
You're
I
This is Lauren Fletcher. Can you hear me?
can.
We still have not received any child support from Lavana.
Oh yeah, we talked about that on Wednesday when I dropped Trinity off. I was gonna just transfer it to her Zelle account through her bank, but I wasn't sure if I could transfer it directly to Trinity or if it had to be to either Lori or Pete. So
I'm not good with you having account numbers. Just get a
Not a-
certified check and put it in the mail.
through Zelle, which
Okay,
is
well,
access to your stuff that way.
okay. All right. That's not really an issue in front of me right today. But we'll if you want to bring that up next week, or unless that's agreed to. It sounds like she's gonna take care of that. So let Ms. Farr know if you have any concerns about that.
I don't have checks yet, so I just have to order them and have them come in the mail.
Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes.
Your Honor. This is Jeremiah Fletcher, Trinity's father. Is there a way instead of sending my child support to Lavana, I can just hand it straight to my mother instead?
I have the physical card, it just has my name on it, and I haven't spent any of it, so it's all there.
Ms. Farr, are we putting a support order into this?
So the problem with this is that support order is under the family law matter, which is calculated between the two parents. In the guardianship order, there has not been calculations for both parents to pay child support. So really that child support order should probably be terminated, and then either Mr. Fletcher can voluntarily support Trinity, or Lauren, the petitioner, will have to bring a separate action to get child support orders entered for both parents.
There's a bench order that Judge Evans last hearing regarding your.
All right, so I'm just looking at the order. This was signed by Judge Evans May 21st, and what it simply says is that Ms. Fletcher would forward any support she receives on behalf of the child. So, Mr. Fletcher, you would still need to get that to her under this order until that order were to be extinguished or a separate order were entered in this case, which I don't have that in front of me. I don't have any ability to just end the order in the other case without that being noted on, and there may be the state may have some interest in that. I don't know.
The state hasn't appeared yet, Your Honor, and I don't know that they do have any interest, but what I was referring to was when we enter the permanent order that the previous child support order should be terminated, and then.
No, I understand that, but I don't know that I can do that without having that case in front of me. I'd have to have something here that terminates that, and then a new order here.
So should the permanent order then just instruct mother to forward the money, or?
Well, it's going to either be that, or we would have to have language in the permanent order that establishes support here.
Right.
And extinguish and essentially terminates any obligations of either party under the other order.
I'll be getting checks. I'm gonna order them today, and then I can, until something obviously comes up, paperwork wise, I just have to wait for the checks to get here. I don't currently have checks. And I don't feel comfortable sending a money order through the mail.
Okay. Well, it looks like based on this order, you could either do this on some sort of an electronic app, like a Venmo or a PayPal or something, electronic transfer. So however you want to do that, but it's just not in cash. And the reason for that is because there's no real good way to record it and give everybody credit. But Mr. Fletcher, at this point, you still need to pay under the old order to her to be transferred to Lauren. If we put some language in this existing order, or the order that Ms. Barr is working on, that includes payment in this case, I wouldn't have any problem in just having this order indicate there's no duty of support to be paid under the other support orders, so long as this order is in place and that you're taking care of that here.
When you say taking care of that here, does that mean that
You would be paying the support
directly to the petitioner?
To Lauren, correct.
Okay, I can put that language in there.
Yeah, so if we do that and then just put some language that terminates any legal obligation under the other case number, then we don't have to do anything with that. Then if this ultimately were to end, that order would come back into play, obviously, but there would be credit. He would have credit for having the payments made here. Okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're all welcome, and we'll see you back hopefully next week. And then if that doesn't work out, Ms. Farr, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend this out through the 2nd. And the reason for that is because you're not here on the 18th. I'm now not here on the 25th. So the 2nd would be the next time when we're both on this docket. And if you can't get it done by next week, I hate to stick it with somebody else who's not as familiar with the case.
I will get it done by next week.
Okay, well, we'll just extend it to next week then.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Ms. Turnbull is present, and so.
Your Honor, if I could, just before we start, Casey Looney on behalf of the state, I just wanted to let the parties know that we will be filing a notice of appearance, so the parties should be receiving that soon.
Okay. So that adds another layer of things to attend to. So based on, well, maybe I'm wrong here, but actually, Ms. Turnbull, I did get your guardian item report today. I did have a chance to review through that. And I did see in the email that both of the Ms. Powers and Mr. Trotter also received a copy of that. This is one I know the parents are not in agreement with, so we probably at this juncture need to get a hearing as well.
I would appreciate if the court will set us over to the trial assignment docket. Just in way of an update, our last hearing was May 7th, and at that hearing, both parents were ordered to do a hair follicle test by the end of the week. We have not received results, and the results have not been filed with the court. The court also ordered some more visitation, including a visit in Vancouver on Mother's Day. My client resides in Goldendale, and she's a mother and a grandma, and she gave up her Mother's Day and drove Remy to Vancouver. The parents did not show for that visit. In fact, the parents have not shown for any visits in May or April. They have court-ordered visits every Sunday in Goldendale, except for this one visit that was in Vancouver that my client traveled for. At this point, I would ask the court to grant an emergency minor guardianship for the next 60 days, set a review in 60 days, move this to the trial assignment docket, and stop all visitation until a hair follicle test has been provided as ordered.
Your Honor, let me respond.
Mr. Trotter, go ahead.
Yes. So yeah, as for the hair follicle test, the parties have tried to do that. Unfortunately, they have not been able to secure. They haven't been able to afford the test, and so. But I will also report that they both have completed detox as of recently. and they've taken tests as a part of their detox, is my understanding. As for visitation, I would just ask that the court permit the parties to agree as to visitation until the next hearing.
Turnbull, do you have any comments on either of those issues?
Yeah, I would support Ms. Powers' request. I've heard both of the parties report to me earlier in this investigation that they've reported that they've completed detox and have had urinalysis or test done, and they would be reporting those results to their attorney. That was, weeks and weeks ago, and I still have not received those results, and I believe neither has Mr. Trotter. So I don't believe that either of those things have been done. And I would also assert that the father in this case receives a settlement every month, over $5,200 that he has reported to me, and I have seen verification of that. There's no reason either party should not be able to afford the hair follicle test that was ordered. They have regular income. So I don't buy it.
Okay. I did notice that in the report. I don't have a blank 60-day order here, but if Ms. Powers, if you want to prepare one, here's what I'd be inclined to do today. I'm not going to suspend visits. I'm going to leave it up to the guardians if they wish to, but I'm going to have it be done in Goldendale. Based on that kind of income, there's just the idea that they can't get to Goldendale from Astoria is just not. Again, I'm not buying that either. Particularly with the lack of visits. We did set up some real specific ones this last couple of the last hearing. And if that didn't take place, then that's problematic. So,
Your Honor, could I request that we keep the visits every Sunday, but the parents need to confirm an hour ahead of time with my client that they will actually be there. The visits are occurring at a restaurant, so my client's going and eating a meal every single week, waiting for them to show up. With this new baby, if they could just text her an hour ahead that they're going to be there, and if they don't communicate, then my client doesn't have to show up.
Mr. Trotters, that seems reasonable.
Yeah, that seems reasonable to me.
Okay, that sounds appropriate. So if we want to do a similar order to the one I just did, which puts us, I forget the dates I had on that.
I believe it was July 30th.
That sounds right. So if you want to do a 60-day order valid through July 30th with review on July 30th, some comments about the visitation that we just talked about. I'll have my clerk put this on for trial assignment again on the 12th, which is next Wednesday at 9 a.m. It's a Zoom hearing, and we'll get a date set for a hearing on the case.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I just make one note on the record? My client asked me and gave me permission to make a note on the record, if I may.
Certainly.
Yeah, with all due respect, there was a comment made, with all due respect, counsel, at the last hearing that Patricia was nodding off during the proceeding. And so that obviously would cause offense, especially if you aren't guilty of that. So she was not nodding off. She was actually texting me and emailing me at that time. So I just wanted to make that record per my client's request. Thank you.
Very good. That'll be noted. All right, so we'll see you next Wednesday, 9 o'clock. I'll see an order, circulate that electronically. I'll get that entered, and then we'll have a review on the 30th of July if we haven't got a trial before then. Hopefully we will.
Okay, and then Mr. Trotter has filed his notice of intent to withdraw effective before the 12th. I think it's effective the 11th. So I'm assuming maybe Mr. Trotter can pass on the trial assignment to his clients. I don't know whether that raises any concerns for the court. I don't want to get to the docket next week and then not be able to set a date.
Yes. So let me, can I just communicate with you, Counselor?
That's fine with me. I just want to make sure that lack of notice does not become a problem at the docket
Yep.
next week.
Understood. Thank you.
What I will suggest, if you want to put that trial assignment date in the order and maybe email a copy of that order to the two parties directly, you have their emails in there as well. That'll cover us.
Okay, so I will send it to Mr. Trotter, who can forward it to the other parents, or you want me to include the parents on? My plan was to draft the order, send it to all the parties. I can CC the parents if that's appropriate with Mr. Trotter, or I can just send it to Mr. Trotter at this point.
Yes, and I'll be sure to forward it to them, and I'll CC you.
Perfect.
Yep.
That'll work.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll see you next Wednesday.
See you then.
I believe that is everything.